Okay, so this is our annual in-service to do our annual update form as required by the Corporation for National and Community Service. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go through each form to explain it. I'll answer any questions you have about the form. And then I know some of you won't have every single piece of information to fill this out completely. That's fine. Please turn in at the before you go as many papers as you can in the basket back there that are totally filled out and signed. And then take the other ones home with you and then try to get it back to us at MAS as soon as you can. And we appreciate your patience with bureaucratic paperwork. We try to keep it to a minimum. So, as I said about the physicals, they're not due until 12 months after you gave us your last sheet. Some of you might not have seen they're a bit more minimized this year. It's not anything like a physical. It doesn't have those lines for your blood pressure and your weight and all of that. All this is you can fill out the top part and then have any kind of health professional, could be your physical therapist, could be a nurse, could be a doctor you're going to go see anyway because you have a flu or something, have them just sign it saying there's descriptions on the back for the physical requirements for foster grandparents, senior companions, so if they want to know, well, what am I signing? All they're doing is saying yes or no, that you can do the activities on the back without harm to yourself.
Can you go to your school nurse at school you're a foster grandparent at?
She's a health professional. If she's willing to do that for you and feels it's appropriate, absolutely. And we always remind people that if you have Medicare, you have a free physical every year that they pay for. So you can take advantage of that with this. Any other questions about the physical? No? Okay. The next one in your packet should be the annual update form. So the top part, the beneficiary for accident insurance, please do fill this in because it's super unlikely that it'll ever be used in anyone's case. But if you should happen to die while volunteering, someone in your life can get $2,500 from our volunteer insurance, so you might as well put somebody down. And then the emergency contact, also important. You know, if you have to be rushed to the ER and we want to know who to contact for you, that's what we use this for. Your auto accident insurance, if you are not a driver and don't have a car, don't have car insurance, you can cross that part out and put it on driver. But if you drive and volunteering at all, please do fill that out. Other information, we would love to have your email address if you have one and you check it. So please give that to us or update it if you have a new one. And then the questions at the bottom are just for our census data. So the next page is the annual income review. This one has gotten more detailed than we used to have, but it has more information on the back about medical deductions. So the amount for foster grandparents that their annual I'm talking to everybody here. The stipend volunteers have to be under is $24,000, I think like $400 per year, but you take your annual income, not your assets, but what you have money coming in regularly for. You take that amount, and then you think of all the money you spend on anything related to medical, going to the dentist, getting glasses. If you have to drive to Helena, if you're a veteran, you can count the miles on that. So you take that, you deduct it from your annual income, and that's the amount that has to be under that 24,000 some. But because you're already existing volunteers, there's a 20% rule that you can make 20% more than the $24,000 and it's still okay. Does anybody have any questions about that one? Yeah, Betty.
On the income, do you have to show your stipend?
Yeah.
Because your stipend is not income. It's a reimbursement, so you don't have expenses associated with volunteering.
Something else that's deductible that people forget about is the Part B from your Social Security.
The Medicare part.
Yeah, anything you pay, like health insurance, any of that can be deducted.
I was wondering, is it okay to show the net monthly income for Social Security, or would it be the gross?
There are boxes here where you can write down the monthly income and then you just multiply it by 12. And, oh, net or gross. For how much income? Yeah, net.
Is this report based on from all last year, right?
Yeah. So just your general idea of what you're going to be making in the next year based on last year.
Let's see. I got an increase in Social Security starting January 1st.
Oh, okay. And it doesn't.
Yeah, they have your raise.
Estimated for the upcoming 12 months. Oh, for new volunteers, but existing volunteers for the last 12 months.
That was my question also, because I just got my year-end statements from Social Security, but I also got the statements for what's coming up this year. I should use what I had last year.
For, yes, for existing volunteers last year. And this is an estimate. Do the best you can with it. But, you know, it's not something we're going to check. I didn't say that. You didn't hear it, but just remember that. So, you know, it's not supposed to be like if you have a receipt for $12.45, you need to count every last penny of that. It's an idea. Okay, so did we cover those questions? Okay. And the next one is the volunteer driving agreement. Again, if you do not drive, you don't have a car, you never use it in volunteering, you can just put NA in your name. But if you do drive at all related to volunteering, please do fill this out. So you'll need some information. So this is one you could take home if you need to. Your driver's license number, your insurance company, the policy, the expiration, what program you volunteer with. Any questions about that? Then you have the driving policy. You don't need to give that back to us. It's just for your information, as is on the back the driver safety and defensive driving tips. The next one, we sign every year. It hasn't changed. It's the confidentiality agreement. Basically, it says you're not going to share information that you gather while volunteering. Pretty common sense, just your agreement to protect the people you serve with. Questions about that one? And next is the stipend hour commitment form. So this one, you kind of want to underguess if you're not sure. I mean, definitely put down the number that you're serving now that you expect to continue with, but don't put it higher than you think you'll be able to do, because we're not supposed to pay you for hours that are above your... We're supposed to hold you to the number of hours that you put on this form. Does that work? So anything you put down there needs to be between 15 and 40 hours a week, because that's the requirement for CNCS. Any questions? Okay. And then the next one is the weekly mileage commitment form. This is one you can guess a bit high on, because this is the one we're not supposed to pay you more than what's on your commitment form, even if you drive more than that. I know for senior companions this can be a bit tricky, but you know, look back at what we have done and think if anything's going to change in the coming year, and foster grandparents, it's easier because you know how many miles it is to school and you know how many days of work, how many days a week you work. So you can use that to estimate. And if every once in a while you go to an extra school concert with your kids from the class, that's okay. But you should add that into your weekly mileage, even if you think, well, that's not what I'm normally going to do. Guess a bit high. Give yourself some wiggle room. Any questions about that one? Okay, we're going to just whip right through this. The last one is the permission to release stipend disregard information. This is the same as every year before. Because your stipend is not counted as income and is not supposed to interfere with any government benefits or any other assistance programs or anything like that, you shouldn't have to put it on your taxes because it's not income. But occasionally people get hassled by a hospital or like renter credit people, and they're like, well, what is this? Because it comes up on your direct deposit as payroll, so this must be income, so we need to know about it. If you sign this, you can direct them to me, and I can talk to them about it and say, no, this is not income. You need to leave this person alone, and here's an official letter. If you don't sign this, all I can do is send them the letter. I can't talk to them about it. And I have had to advocate for some of you, so you do not have to sign this paper, but it can be a good idea. Does anybody have any questions about that one? Okay. Please turn in the forms that you can today in the basket. The rest of them we'd really love to have by the end of January, except for the physicals if your physical isn't due.
Do we round the nurse down?
Absolutely, you don't have to keep track of cents on the income form. If you don't have medical expenses, if you don't have anything regularly you have to pay for, you don't have to fill that out. You know, if your income is under $24,000 some dollars a year, you really don't have to. I mean, it's nice to have the information for CNCS, but if it's really a bother, you can leave it blank because you're under just health insurance. It's not life insurance or auto insurance or medical insurance, and there are examples listed on the back of all the other things you can deduct for. So, if no one has any more questions for the room, we'll take a break and have refreshments, and then anyone who has further questions, I can talk to you one-on-one. And you can go when you feel like you've done as much as you can with the forms.
Not a question, comment. Am I allowed to tell a humorous little story about school? I won't mention any names. I work in a kindergarten class, and just recently gone to a different school. Saw this adorable child, long, beautiful black hair, sometimes in braids, sometimes loose. Big glasses, just the most loving little child you ever saw. The only problem I had was the first couple of weeks that I was at this school, I thought this child was a girl. Very saucy and sweet and loving, had a zip-up boots, nice shoes. I was there a couple of weeks till the teacher assigned that child to me individually, and I says, now which one is that, you know, by name? She says, is that little boy sitting right over there? And so the lights went on, and this child, instead of me saying when she did a good job, I say, atta girl, you know? And sweet, I mean, we got along really well. She never leaves my side, but it's a he. And so the next day, after we talked about this, and the teacher talked about how sometimes people get confused, you know. I was working with this child, and I reminded him, the first thing that we put on our paper is our name. So he wrote his name, and in big letters after his name, He wrote V-O-Y. And I loved it.
That's great. And you know, that's a topic that's definitely topical these days, with more acceptance of transgender students and more comfort now that people can be open about who they are and how they want to dress. It's definitely an issue in schools, and other kids can be hurtful towards kids like that. And as foster grandparents, you can help them see that if it's something that person is, it shouldn't be a put down. It's what they do in their character, not what they're dressed like.
I think that just just because of the love.
Right.
And at Christmas time, I feel really sorry for this. At Christmas time, she was still, in my life, a little girl. At the Christmas play, all the little other girls wearing their pretty Christmas dresses and cute little shoes. And this, at that time, little girl, all she had was blue jeans and a plaid shirt. And we get along great. We really do. He is a sweetheart and one of the children that I will enjoy working with.
Yeah. My son, when he was little, he had a pink tutu that he just adored and he loved wearing it everywhere. And people would be like, oh, your daughter is so pretty. And a transgender friend of mine said, you know, in that situation, I think it's best not to make a big deal of it. You can just answer, yes, he is. He is pretty, isn't he?
A similar thing happened a couple of Easters ago. My youngest granddaughter my eldest granddaughter is now my eldest grandson. And he and his partner, between them have 3 children from various sorts. Well, his is a boy, and his partner had 2 girls. And when Easter came around, they had picked out new clothing for them, wearing a nice little vest and a tie for him, and a lovely little dress for her. Well, Josiah saw the dress, and he just couldn't stand on wearing it. And the little girl didn't mind wearing the tie and vest, and so that's how they went to church.
Anybody else? Okay, we'll take a break.